Good morning to all of you. The topic of today's lecture is factors affecting reaction velocity of an enzyme catalyzed reaction. In other words, you can also say it like that factors affecting enzymatic activity. Ultimately, when there is a enzyme activity is affected, there is a change in reaction velocity. The velocity will increase or decrease. That is, it is regulated according to these factors, starting from temperature, pH, substrate concentration, enzyme concentration, product of the reaction, that is feedback inhibition by the end product of that metabolic pathway. If it is more crowding of the product, presence of activator or inhibitor, allosteric effects, and time. These are total factors affecting reaction velocity. And most of these factors are in your topic, that is second unit. We will go through one by one these factors. First is temperature. We already discussed some portions of these factors yesterday. It is very important factor, temperature, and enzyme activity is optimum at normal temperature, that is around 37 to 40 degrees Celsius. That is why each enzyme has its own optimum temperature in this range. Some books have said that it is between 37 to 45. That is also correct. Very low temperature will inhibit the reaction velocity, will affect the enzymatic activity. So in this case of very low temperature, the activity will be minimal. While when there is a extreme increase in temperature, this will also lead to minimal activity of enzyme, that is reaction velocity will decrease. Only up to a certain limit, increase in temperature can increase the enzyme's catalytic activity. So that temperature where each enzyme is working efficiently, this is known as optimum temperature. This is the reaction graph plotted between temperature and reaction velocity. X-axis is temperature and y-axis is reaction velocity. So here, upon increasing the temperature up to 45 degrees Celsius, that is between 37 to 45, the optimum range is there. The reaction velocity increases, but after this 45, there is a downfall in the reaction velocity. So these enzymes, most of the enzymes, they have this optimum temperature between 37 to 45 degrees Celsius for the maximum activity of their enzyme, so that a reaction velocity is increased. Unless and until those animals, those are cold-blooded, they are controlled by the external environment, they can change according to the external environment. Their enzymes are still working because they are adapted. Just like yesterday I told you about fish and lizard. They can change to the external adaptation of the environment. How much change in the temperature, whether it is the winter, summer, they can change, but their enzymes are still working. Second factor which affect the enzyme activity or the velocity of the reaction, it is pH, that is hydrogen ion concentration. Each enzyme has its own, again, optimum pH. At that, enzyme work very efficiently, and that is a very limited range of pH where enzymes are active. For example, trypsin are active in alkaline medium, while diastase is active in neutral medium, and pepsin is active in acidic medium. That these enzymes have their own optimum pH for their working, where they are extremely active. The reaction rate will increase when they are kept at this pH. All three enzymes, that is trypsin in alkaline medium, diastase in neutral medium, while pepsin in acidic medium. Is clearly shown in this graph. Two enzymes, pepsin and trypsin, their optimum pH where they are working efficiently, plotted between pH on the x-axis and reaction velocity on the y-axis. So there is always reaction velocity plotted on the y-axis, while different types of effectors which affect the reaction velocity or affect the enzyme activity, they are plotted on x-axis. So here you are seeing clearly in the case of pepsin, it is acidic pH where it is working efficiently. That is the optimum pH between 1 and 2, around 1.7 to 1.8. And trypsin is working at alkaline pH between 7 to 8, around 7.7 to 7.8. Now concentration of enzyme. So initially and up to the availability of substrate, increasing the concentration of enzyme will increase the velocity of the reaction. A very important point to note, a small amount of enzyme is enough for large amount of substrates. Increase in the concentration of enzyme will increase the rate of the reaction, but the condition is that there will be enough substrate. There is no scarcity of the substrate in proportion to the increase in concentration of enzyme. If there is no substrate, there is scarcity of substrate, then it will have no effect on the increasing of concentration of enzyme on the increasing reaction velocity. Why? Because increase in number of enzyme molecule will have more active sites, and if substrate is available, they will bind to this active site and reaction velocity will increase. Another important point, at high concentration of the enzyme, the effect of inhibitor will be very less. So it is very advantageous when there is a high concentration of enzyme, reaction velocity will go on increasing in presence of large amount of substrate, while the effect of inhibitors is minimized. There are very less inhibition by different types of inhibitors, which we'll see later on the slides. What is enzyme inhibition? What are the factors which inhibit enzyme activity? That is the rate of the reaction. This is clearly shown in the graph. Since the rate of the reaction or velocity is directly proportional to the enzyme concentration, only when sufficient substrate is present, so the reaction velocity will go on increasing gradually according to the increasing concentration of the enzyme. Here the graph is plotted. X-axis shows enzyme concentration, while V is always the velocity. A linear increasing graph is obtained. While accumulation of product in a reaction causes inhibition of enzyme activity. If there is a greater accumulation of product, just like you have learned previously in metabolism, then it will feedback inhibit the earlier enzymes involved in the different steps. And most of the time it is inhibiting the first step enzyme. We will see just now in the coming slides what is feedback inhibition. Another important factor which affect enzyme activity or velocity of the reaction, it is substrate concentration. This graph is obtained upon plotting the x-axis by substrate concentration and y-axis for reaction velocity. Is more clear in this graph, also having a relation of substrate concentration with Km. Since every enzyme catalyzed reaction has its own maxima, that is maximum velocity, where all the substrates are catalyzed into product. So this is a general graph for enzyme catalyzed reaction having this maximum velocity, and when the half maximum velocity is taken on the y-axis and draw a perpendicular line on the substrate concentration, this shows the value of Km. So Km is that substrate concentration where velocity is not maximum, it is half the maximum velocity. In other words, at half the maximum velocity of an enzyme catalyzed reaction, any enzyme catalyzed reaction, Km is equal to substrate concentration. Km means Michaelis constant. So increase in substrate concentration increases the activity of the enzyme. Now again there is a condition when until all the active sites of the enzyme molecules are saturated with the substrate. After this saturation point, the rate of enzyme reaction becomes steady. And if you give additional concentration of substrate, it will have no effect. The graph would not increase, it becomes flattened, just like here shown. जितना भी आप substrate concentration बढ़ा लें, सारी की सारी जब एक्टिव साइट्स बाइंड हो जाएगी सबस्ट्रेट से, किसकी एक्टिव साइट, एंजाइम की, सैचुरेशन पॉइंट आ जाएगा, उसके बाद फिर कोई इफेक्ट नहीं पड़ेगा how much you are increasing the substrate concentration on the velocity of the reaction. Now there are other activators which are responsible for increasing the velocity of the reaction, rate of the reaction. Also, in other words, you can say they are increasing the enzymatic activity. If enzymatic activity is increased, the rate of reaction is also increased. Unless and until there is a scarcity of substrate. So here, what are these activators? You have learned in the metabolism. There are many pathways. Most of the enzymes, they are requiring cofactors or prosthetic groups for their activity, so that they can catalyze that reaction, catalyze that substrate into products. So these have a general term known as activators. These molecules which activate enzymes for catalyzing a reaction, so that these enzymes have their optimum activity. They are known as prosthetic groups or cofactors. They both are activators. They are not inhibitors.
Sir?
Yes?
जो आप एक्टिविटी प्रोस्थेटिक ग्रुप होते हैं, इसमें इनऑर्गेनिक मेटल ले सकते हैं, ऑर्गेनिक मेटल नहीं यूज करते क्या?
that comes in coenzymes. Okay.
That
There
come on
are
in
metals
coenzymes.
and there are coenzymes, two types of cofactors. Okay.
हाँ हाँ. Okay sir. Thank you
So
sir.
here in this case, the metal ions are example shown. These are magnesium, copper, calcium, sodium, and potassium ions. They are inorganic metal ions serving as prosthetic groups. Another type of cofactor which comes under coenzyme category, and they are mostly organic types. That is vitamin derivatives derived from vitamins, and most of them are derived from vitamin B complex. Only they are restricted to vitamin B complex that are vitamin based. Otherwise, they are non-vitamin based also. What are they? They are known as coenzymes. So these are differentiated into two types: inorganic and organic. Those factors, those activators which support the enzymes in catalyzing a reaction. Already you have learned this portion. There are two types of metals. Some metals are actually participating in that reaction. There are these types of enzymes taking support. They are known as metalloenzymes. Other types are metal activated enzymes. They are not actually participating. They are only helping on the outer side. For take example, there is a inner support, political support, outer political support. This is the case here also. अंदरूनी समर्थन और बाहरी समर्थन. So these are the metal ions. I have given you the slides. For example, for both metal activated and metalloenzymes. Metal activated enzymes are loosely bound or metalloenzymes are tightly bound. And these vitamin based coenzymes, they are also loosely bound. Examples are NAD and FAD. These are vitamin based. Apart from coenzyme A, that is also vitamin based. Except ATP. ATP is also a coenzyme, but it is not vitamin based. And that lipoic acid or lipoamide participating in the linking step between glycolysis and TC cycle. These are not vitamin based. Coenzymes can be both vitamin and non-vitamin based, but they are mainly vitamin B complex based. Most of them are vitamin B complex based. So apart from these two types of activators, metal ions and these organic vitamin derivatives, there are also one type of enzymes known as allosteric enzymes. You learned in the first semester. So these enzymes, what are these enzymes? These enzymes have a separate site apart from their active site, where according to the molecule that is binding, known as modulator or effector, the enzyme activity can be increased or decreased. It depends upon the modulator or effector, which is binding to the separate site apart from the active site. These are already told. There are metal ion activators and coenzymes. They are increasing the enzymatic activity, ultimately increasing the velocity of the reaction. And vitamin act as coenzymes in a variety of reactions. Although it is not in your topic, but you have to learn that this is also one of the factors affecting enzyme activity or rate of the reaction. So it affects the longer an enzyme is incubated with its substrate, the greater the amount of product that will be formed. However, the rate of formation of product is not a simple linear function of the time of incubation, because all proteins suffer denaturation and hence loss of catalytic activity with the time. It is not always true that greater the time of incubation, the more the product will be formed. Sometimes, if there is a limit to that incubation period, there is a loss of protein activity, because most of the enzymes are made up of protein. And this loss is due to denaturation because of greater time of incubation of that enzyme with the substrate. So sometime again it will flatten, saturation occurs. On increasing the time, there will be no effect on the increase in enzymatic activity and ultimately the velocity of the reaction. It is shown here in the graph also for the clarity. Plotted between time on the x-axis and y is the product. So here in this case, the enzyme catalyzed reactions undergo completion in an optimum time. Variation of the time affect the rate of enzyme catalyzed reaction. So this is mostly for research purpose. There is standardization of the method when the scientists or researchers are working on this type of enzymatic substrate catalyzing reaction involved in their research. They will have to standardize by keeping their samples for different time duration, and then they will see what time duration, what incubation time is the optimum time for increasing that enzymatic activity or velocity of the reaction. So they will have to take different samples and different time period, then they can get to that optimum incubation time where the enzyme activity is increasing in comparison to other incubation time period. Here it is plotted 5 minutes starting from 0, 5, 10, 15, 20. This is one of the basic standardization method involved in research. These are other methods. Again, they are not in your topic, but it is important. While some enzymes are very sensitive to light, they stop working. Other enzymes require the presence of light for its catalytic activity. For example, photolyase enzyme involved in photoreactivation, DNA repair require lights for its enzymatic activity. Very important example. Photolyase enzyme involved in photoreactivation of DNA repair. There is a process for DNA repair known as photoreactivation. It requires lights for this enzyme activity. While in most of the time, usually enzyme activity is reduced under the influence of harmful radiations. There are two separate terms, light and radiation. They have a separate wavelength. So in the case of radiation, enzymatic activity is reduced, so the rate of the reaction will decrease. So these are the radiations: X-rays, UV rays, beta rays, and gamma rays. While visible light has different wavelength in comparison to this radiation, so visible light can be sometimes very effective for enzymes for their catalytic activity. Why these radiations are harmful? These radiations, they produce peroxide, the type hydrogen peroxide, and this type of free radical, that is hydrogen peroxide, they can cause oxidative stress, leading to damage in the proteins and DNA of our body. Now that feedback inhibition, initially I have told you. So when there is a greater accumulation of end product, it decreases the enzymatic activity. Why? Because the enzymes active sites become crowded with the products. Thus, the substrate molecules will have comparatively lesser chances of combining with the active sites Inhibition by the end product is also a regulation mechanism such as feedback inhibition or allosteric modulation. It is clearly shown here in the pathway, the general pathway of metabolic reaction forming the end product by the action of these three enzymes involved in that pathway. There is a start of the pathway catalyzed by enzyme 1, then intermediate is catalyzed by enzyme 2 and enzyme 3. So then the product start accumulating in greater concentration, higher level. Then this product will inhibit the first enzyme of the pathway through the feedback inhibition method. Is there any example I have told you in the metabolism or any metabolic pathway where this is occurring? In most of the inborn errors of metabolism, this phenomena is happening. Because of that, enzyme is blocked, so there is no formation of the product. Sometimes there is a deficiency, inherited deficiency of enzymes involved in that pathway of inborn errors of metabolism, whether it is the phenylketonuria. And sometimes product will also feedback inhibit that enzyme. Now, until now you have learned about factors affecting enzyme activity or rate of the enzyme reaction. So there's that factors when they are increased and there are certain conditions to follow up, not only increasing that factor. Sometimes there are other considerations also taken into account. So the velocity of the reaction, enzymatic reaction will increase. Just like I told you, the enzymatic factor. What happens when there is a increase in enzyme concentration? Although it is clear from natural point of view that increasing the enzyme concentration will increase the velocity. But when there is a condition that substrate has to be there in ample amount, there is no scarcity of the substrate. Okay. But sometimes there is a condition involved. It is not only simple that increasing that factor concentration will increase the enzymatic activity. Similarly, in the case of substrate concentration, on increasing the substrate, a saturation time will come. After that saturation time, the graph is flattened. How much you will increase the substrate, there is no effect on the velocity of the reaction because all the enzymatic active sites are filled with that substrate. So there is no effect on increasing additional substrate concentration on the enzyme activity and velocity of the reaction. So here in this case, all the factors are inhibiting. They are also known as enzyme inhibitors. So any substance that can diminish the velocity of an enzyme catalyzed reaction, they are known as enzyme inhibitors. And these include examples, drugs, antibiotics, poisons, and anti-metabolites. And these are very helpful, useful in understanding the sequence of enzyme catalyzed reactions, metabolic regulation, studying the mechanism of cell toxicity produced by toxicants, and they are also the basis of drug design. So these are the various types of inhibitor: competitive inhibitor, non-competitive inhibitor, and uncompetitive inhibitor. They may be reversible or irreversible. There are two broad type of inhibition, reversible and irreversible. So the type of inhibition depends upon the nature of the inhibitor. Inhibitors are less effective when the concentration of enzyme and substrate is higher in medium. Very important point, already told in the previous slides. Inhibitors are less effective when concentration of enzyme and substrate is higher in the medium. Condition is that both concentration, that enzyme and substrate, both concentration has to be higher in the medium in order to minimize the effect of inhibitors. These are the major category of inhibition types in reversible and irreversible. Reversible inhibitors include this competitive, non-competitive and uncompetitive. We will go into each of these in tomorrow's class in details.